when you have Shia LaBeouf in there, and he's a fucking idiot.
Shia
And,
LaBeouf?
yeah, Shia LaBeouf is Boof or whatever the fuck he
Oh, they
calls
said
his name.
LaBoots.
I did say LaBeouf actually.
Quentin Tarantino is back on the show. We talked about Quentin Tarantino a few weeks ago about how he said, in his opinion, the best movie ever made was Jaws. And I maybe don't agree with that specifically, but I agree that Jaws is definitely one of the best movies ever made. Maybe even top 5. It's a fantastic film. I agreed with everything he said concerning Jaws. Well, he's got another hot take. Some people consider that a hot take. I don't really consider it a hot take. I think a lot of people are in line with Jaws being one of the greatest movies ever made. I think that's not too hot of a take. This take, though, is on fucking fire. Like NBA Jam back in the day, you're on fire! That's what this take is. This motherfucker said some shit here. Let me read what Mr. Tarantino had to say. And he's got a lot of credibility in the film community for, you know, his knowledge, and what people put a lot of stock in what Tarantino says when he speaks on movies. This may be damaging that credibility, in my opinion. But he appeared on the Real Blend podcast recently. And here's what he said. And this is all it is. This is what he said. This is all he needed to say to spark this debate. I like Crystal Skull. Well, when he was asked about Indiana Jones, the Indiana Jones movies, he says, I like Crystal Skull more than the Sean Connery one, Tarantino said. I don't like the Sean Connery one. I don't like that one at all. That's such a boring one. It's boring. And he's not an interesting character. The joke is made immediately. It's like, stop, or my mom will shoot. Ooh. And Nick says, no, sir, I don't like it.
What a dumbass.
I think that Nick is referring to those comments, not the movie. Now, of course, Tarantino is referring to The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the fourth Indiana Jones movie, the one with Shia LaBeouf. And the Sean Connery one, he is referring to the Last Crusade, the third Indiana Jones movie, which some people say is the best. I don't think it's the best one, but I do think it's a solid movie. I will say, before you get into yours, I'm going to say that when I was a kid, I saw all the Indiana Jones movies in the movie theater. The Last Crusade was my least favorite of the three for a while when I was a little kid. It didn't speak to me as much as the other ones did. But over time, I actually grew more and more fond of it, to the point to where I would definitely put it probably in the number 2 spot. Raiders is still my favorite, but then this one, and then Temple. But definitely above Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Now, I don't hate Kingdom of the Crystal Skull as much as some people do. There's a lot of disdain for that film out there. I don't think it's a great movie, and it is definitely number 4 in its release and its ranking, in my opinion. But I don't hate it as much as a lot of people do. All monkey swinging Shia LaBeouf aside, I think it's okay. It's watchable. But Nick, I know you are a big fan of Raiders of the Last Crusade. So much so,
yeah.
In the background, I think in your room you have the poster hanging up.
Yep.
So what are these thoughts? How do these thoughts, did Tarantino hurt you? Have you been cut? Are you much like Ezra Miller? Fuck him, you're not watching his next movie now? How do you feel about this movie? Or these comments?
Unfortunately, Quentin Tarantino has a lot of goodwill. Outside of his creepy foot fetishes and stuff like that, he has a lot of goodwill. He's not Ezra Miller, who did like 3 films and then decided to go on the crazy train. But I am a huge Last Crusade stan. I love it more than the whole entire series of like Raiders and of course Temple of Doom. I understand like the love for Temple of Doom and Raiders. They're both great films. Temple of Doom, PG-13, all that stuff. I can't get on board with this comment about the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, especially how they took Frank Darabont's script, which I can't find it anymore, but I think we talked about this. They took Frank Darabont's script, which was actually quite amazing. It would have made the movie way better than it was, even though it still dealt with aliens. And they gave it to David Koepp, who is known for doing Spider-Man, like writing Spider-Man and stuff like that. He did Stir of Echoes and whatnot.
the X-Men Phoenix?
No.
that
Thank God
wasn't
he
him,
didn't do
I'm
that
sorry.
one. Yeah, it was Simon Kinberg. No, David Koepp is known for doing like Mission Impossible and Jurassic Park and stuff like that. He's an okay director or writer, but they handed it to him and they had him write the script. And as we know, that turned out, I think it's a piece of shit. There is a sequence in there, the ant stuff, which was from Frank Darabont's script, but I just don't. Quentin Tarantino can love whatever the hell he wants. He can say whatever the hell he wants. That's who he is. He deserves the respect because he is a cinephile. He knows his shit. But come on, you can't not tell me. If you said Temple of Doom was better than Last Crusade, at least I can understand that. I can get that. Even if you said, Last Crusade is not a good movie, don't tell me that fucking Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is a good movie when you have Shia LaBeouf in there and he's a fucking idiot.
Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah. Shia LaBeouf is Boof or whatever the fuck you
I
call
think
his
it's
name.
LaBeouf.
I did say LaBeouf actually.
Okay.
He's coming to his own as a pretty talented actor. He's just had a lot of problems. But to say Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is a better movie when you have problems with editing, when the sky turns from daylight to darkness in like 2 seconds, or you have Kate Blanchett playing a Russian, as a Russian, whatever the fuck she is. Yeah, and then you have all this shit with monkeys swinging, and there's some good moments in it with like the chase sequence through whatever the campus is like that. But come on, Quentin, I know you watch the show. Listen to your friend Nick. He knows everything.
Yeah, he'll be on next week. But
yeah, he's gonna be on next week. We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. I'm with you.
So stupid.
Look. I get if you. I'm with you where you say, okay, if you say you don't like, even his comments. He said the Sean Connery one, Last Crusade, is boring. He doesn't like it. Okay, I get you. Like you said, like what you want. I've always said that. Everybody.
Yeah.
I like fucking Deep Blue Sea. I bring that up a lot.
Hey,
That's a
I like
terrible
Ang Lee's a Hulk, so
I like lots of bad movies. Okay.
yeah.
I get if you like a movie and you don't like a movie, that's fine. But I don't see how, and I hesitate to say just being a cinephile and all that, how you could, just being a human being, how you could look at Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and say it's better than Last Crusade. If you say you don't like Last Crusade, I didn't for years. I get that. I didn't dislike, but it didn't mesh with me. Okay, I'm like, yeah, I get that. I could see that. But then to turn around and say that this over here is better, I'm like, I mean, if you said you don't like both of them, I get it. But damn, how do you say that's better? Because that movie the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull starts out okay, and it actually isn't that bad, and then it just gets real shaky and falls the fuck apart. That's the problem with it. Last Crusade at least doesn't do that. It's cohesive from beginning to end. And I don't know. I don't get these. But once again, to each his own, I guess. But damn. I think a lot of
aliens
people
popped out of John. Too many aliens popped out of John Hurt's chest in Alien to put him in like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull as this like weirdo
oh yeah, he
teacher or
was
whatever.
in that, wasn't he? He was her
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah.
Miriam's dad, I guess. Yeah, the movie's just very forgettable. But you know what? Once again, to each his own. Maybe the Kingdom of the we were bound to find them. There had to be Kingdom of the Crystal Skull lovers out there. We found them. We just found them in a real weird place. And I do think that there's going to be a whole lot of people that disagree with these comments, which, I mean, I guess that's any comments nowadays. And I doubt Quentin Tarantino gives a fuck what anybody thinks about his comments.
Yeah, he
at
don't
this
give
point.
a shit. Yeah, he's like, if you don't like my comments, you can go fucking fuck a tree or some shit. He don't give a shit.
Yeah, and
He's
he has
down next week for intervention.
He has every right to do. He can do that. He's in a point in his life and his career where he can say whatever the hell he wants. But damn, that's a hell of a hot take there. And some people consider the Jaws thing a hot take. No, that's lukewarm.
Yeah,
that's not even
yeah.
lukewarm. That's cold as ice compared to this. This is a hot take in the movie world. Kingdom. I've never heard this. I've never heard anybody say this. I'm sure somebody in the comments would be like, "Well, I liked it," but then that's great. I'm happy for you, but I've
this what
literally
retirement's
never heard
like?
anybody say that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was better than any of the other Indiana Jones movies. But to each his own. That's our friend Quentin. on the show next week. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if it gets people to come to the show, yeah, Quentin Tarantino scheduled for next week.